Therapists, convenient location and hours, part of the community. Call the office with a prescription from your doctor or schedule by direct access 724-437-7500.
Your local station, 590 WMBS.
I hear voices in my head.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, September 18th, 2025, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. So if you went out and purchased your Super Bowl tickets for this year in hopes that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be representing the AFC, if that's your rationale for buying them, I hope you kept the receipt, because the version of the Steelers that we saw last week, and by the way, the home opener against an inferior team that got embarrassed the week before by San Francisco, the Pittsburgh Steelers lay probably the biggest of eggs that we've seen the entire season. And that's said in a league that has the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs, who I'm sure people thought would at least be 1-1 at this point. But at least the teams they played are both playoff teams. The teams the Steelers played will be nowhere near the playoffs at the end of the year. Seattle is probably at best third place in the NFC West, and the New York Jets, who the Steelers barely outlasted in a slugfest, which, by the way, Justin Fields this past week, before he got concussed, I believe had 37 passing yards. That tells you all you need to know about where the money is being spent for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year and how wasted that money is. Why would you for a second think that it makes sense to spend the bulk of your money on defense? First of all, the way the league is set up, it's all about offense. It's all about the quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense has now gone 6 straight games giving up over 30 points, including both games this year. The yardage is just ridiculous. And you look ahead to this upcoming week and people already speculating who will play and who will not play. It's been announced Alex Highsmith isn't going to play. And the first thing I hear from people this week that I'm talking to is, well, that's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. If it's not that big of a deal, why is he making so much money? That's where the issue comes in. If it's not that big of a deal that some of these guys aren't going to be in the lineup, why are they getting what they're getting as far as salary? I agree. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think Sawyer and Herbig are younger and faster anyways. But in the end, then, why is he the number 3 highest paid Pittsburgh Steeler? And you start looking at the secondary. Porter might not play. So who gets inserted? Jalen Ramsey? Oh, he looked real good. He did have an interception because he just so happened to guess right once out of all of the plays that were run last week and managed to get in front and made a good guess. Outside of that, he was pretty much embarrassed for the rest of the game. He couldn't stick with coverage. He was getting exploited. Jackson Smith and Jigba went off, and so did Cooper Kupp, which I don't think anybody saw. So when you look at the secondary and you're asking these guys to cover man out there, it just isn't going to happen because Slay is older and slower on the other side, and there's no one waiting in the wings for the Pittsburgh Steelers to bring in. Look at the linebacker situation. I can't imagine a softer linebacker than Patrick Queen. I mean, he just hobbled around the entire game, but he's practiced all week, so apparently he's fine. TJ Watt, no sacks in his last 6 games, none this year. Nice to see he's making the most money of everybody on that defense. And going through all of those names, you would think it can't possibly be any worse. Have you looked at the defensive line? Have you looked at the rushing yards allowed by that defensive line? That's their sole purpose. They're not getting to the quarterback. They're not putting pressure. They're not getting sacks. They're there to stop the run, and the Steeler defense is one of the worst in the league at stopping the run, to the caliber of Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet, and Kenny Walker. By the way, Walker went off last week as well for Seattle after he was benched in the first week in favor of Charbonnet for the second half. So this is what the Pittsburgh Steelers have become. mediocre, as we know, 1-1. They've got New England, a young up-and-coming team that they have to face this week. A lot of people already predicting that this could be another early loss for the Steelers. Just remember, everyone, these are the ones you thought they were going to win. You thought they'd beat Seattle. You thought they'd annihilate the Jets. You certainly thought they would beat the Patriots. But now it's, well, Joe Burrow's out for 3 months. Maybe we can beat Jake Browning. Well, maybe once. I bet you don't do it twice. We should be able to handle Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland hung in there with Baltimore. Will Pittsburgh even be in remotely in the same game with Baltimore either time that they play, unless they can sort of sucker Harbaugh into playing a Tomlin game, which they usually manage to do once a year, but it certainly won't happen twice a year. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers team that people told me for months was going to be so much better and so much different from what we've seen for the last 8 years because they have Aaron Rodgers. Well, Rodgers, I think, has looked okay. The problem with Rodgers isn't Rodgers. It's the fact that the line can't block for Rodgers. And at 41 years old, a few more hits like what we saw last week, and he's going to be done. I give him 2 weeks unless they figure out some way to shore up that offensive line. And since they haven't managed to do it since Mike Munchak left, I can't imagine they're going to miraculously do it now with a short time to practice and figure it out. A lot of issues for this team. Haven't even gotten into special teams yet, with the biggest gaffe I've seen, in recent memory, Caleb Johnson not knowing the rule for the kickoff. Now, I get it. It's new, but who was explaining the rule to him after all was said and done? Jabril Peppers, who just got there, who learned it when he was a Patriot before he got released this year. I didn't see anybody from the Steelers sideline going up to him and explaining it to him. Most notably, any member of the coaching staff who probably had to read up on it and figure out what it was themselves. Once again, that's the issue. The coaching is lackadaisical, which makes the play lackadaisical, and you see issues like what you saw in that kick return. I mean, Johnson, even if you go by the old rule, you should at least turn around to see if it went in the end zone. He doesn't even look. He just jogs off to the sidelines like the play's over. In the old rule, if it didn't go into the end zone and got touched by somebody else, it was going to be their ball. I mean, at least understand something. And he whined and cried and said guys were cussing him out in the locker room. Well, look, I mean, understand, you're a rookie that was a second-round pick. You think you're the heir apparent to this running back position. At least understand the game of football in the NFL. Yeah, I have no problem with them doing that because clearly you don't care enough to know exactly what you need to do in the job they gave you. You might not like the job. You might not want to be the kick returner, but that's what got you right now on the team. No practice squad. You're dressing. You're not, sitting like some of the guys are on Sunday. You've got a uniform on, and you don't take the time to learn exactly what you're supposed to do in that role. I have no problem with any harassment that guy took in the locker room. The only problem I have is that he probably did have no idea because there's no coaching that's done in that locker room either. And yet again, that brings me to there are no leaders in there. Somebody should have defended him, but nobody did. They allowed it to happen, probably all contributed to it. The Steelers have veterans. They don't have leaders. Tomlin's no leader. None of the players out there that make all this money are leaders either. So you have what you have, something that looked like a virtual implosion for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their home opener. I mean, the fans were already a little iffy after the almost loss to the Jets. Now you go out and lose to Seattle and Sam Darnold? Come on. Who could possibly think this is a team, even if they make the playoffs, that could even hope to win a game once they get there? Here we are getting ready for week 3 in the National Football League. A lot to talk about, a lot to digest from last week. Some surprises out there. I mentioned the Chiefs being 0-2. I can imagine not a whole lot of people thought that was going to happen. So we will do our weekly recap of all the games that were, and we will make our picks for all the weeks that will be. I'm looking here at the list. Everyone has made their picks, all 7 of us who are participating in this Facebook challenge through the Sports Voice and WMBS. You can see those updated standings every Tuesday morning. TJ makes sure that he gets them on there for all to see. But there's more than just the National Football League to talk about. We can talk a little college football. West Virginia, maybe a little bit of a surprise, winning the backyard brawl over Pitt. I know Pitt thought this was going to be a real good season for them. I mean, they handled Duquesne pretty well. But, you and once again, go back to the situation, play some real teams before conference play, because you play these nobodies, then you go out, you lose to one you think you're going to beat in West Virginia, and now you got the ACC schedule coming, and it's usually a harsh reality whenever that really big game comes. In a couple of weeks, Penn State has a really big game against Oregon, because guess what? Oregon's in the Big Ten now, so they can't avoid them like they've done in the past. So, you've got that right off the bat. And what does Penn State have to show for it? A couple of weeks where they couldn't cover the spread against teams that they were supposed to annihilate. And then, I don't know, whatever that nonsense was last week. So, looking at what's here in college football, I'll give credit to the teams. I mean, Notre Dame's 0-2, but they played 2 ranked teams. I'll give credit to the teams that actually play competition instead of the teams that just literally schedule a bunch of nobodies in hopes to pad the record and pad the stats and make sure you're undefeated before you get into your conference play. A little bit of baseball news. The Pirates are on pace to lose somewhere in the 90s. Worse record this year than what they had last year. So you can take that with what you want. But the Pirates are in the middle of another losing streak, got swept by the Cubs this week. They've got the Athletics from somewhere this weekend. Another disappointing year. I can't imagine Ben Cherington survives this. I think he should have been fired a long time ago, possibly with Shelton, possibly before that. He I think does more harm than good. He holds players down that should be elevating. It's nice to see Connor Griffin and Esmeralyn Valdez contributing to the Altoona Curve playoff push, which, by the way, was made once they got there. But, I mean, they should be getting a taste of Indianapolis at this point. Both have performed well at every level of minor league ball they've been in. It's time to elevate them, get them up. It's not like there's this great caliber of star on this current team, and they're not going to go out in free agency and bring in anyone any better. So why wouldn't you try to elevate these younger players that you have hope for faster than what you're doing right now? Cherington is the worst at that. He will keep them down way longer than they should. I don't know what's coming next. I can't imagine it could be worse. Maybe it could be. But in reality, this organization is going nowhere in the current state that it's in. They're not going to spend any more money than what they currently spend. So why not at least try to get the young players up a little bit quicker? Maybe at 19, you can con him into signing a 10-year deal for less than what he would probably get from other teams. Maybe you can keep some of these guys around a little while longer. Interesting article on ESPN that I actually sat and read. It's a pretty long article, but it's really, really good. It talks about Major League Baseball's potential for a salary cap and what it would take, which might include missing the entire 2027 season. That might be the only way that they get it past the Players Association, take a hit for a whole year and see if they're a little more willing to come to the table. But it revolves around the Dodgers signing of Tanner Scott, 4 years, $72 million for a middle relief guy, and other teams just in an outrage over it because they can't afford that for a significant player, let alone someone who's going to come in and pitch the 7th or 8th inning. So it started to get the conversation started. It prompted Rob Manfred to travel around to all the clubhouses in Major League Baseball to get thrown out by Bryce Harper in Philadelphia. But it begs the question, what's better for baseball in the end? I didn't realize 11 teams lost money last year. We like to think it's too big to fail and no one loses. One of the highest payrolls, the New York Mets, they believe, lost almost $200 million last year based on the money they spend and the money that comes back in. But all 8 teams that are over the luxury tax threshold, they're all right now cemented in the playoffs if the season would end today. So there's a lot. We'll talk a little more about it when we get to baseball, but there are some interesting tidbits that come from that. The future of baseball is going to be bigger than just a salary cap, because if that does get implemented, local TV coverage may go with it. It might go away. The Pirates are one of the few teams that still have those local affiliates. A lot of teams right now are being controlled by Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball has already hinted at 30-game packages at least for each team to be outsourced through Netflix or Apple Plus or Amazon Prime or something like that. So there's a lot that could come down the pike that especially some of the older Pirate fans might not be real excited about moving forward. Sidney Crosby, that talk is still out there. The Penguins have been so silent over the last few months. The sale still hasn't been officially announced. And with Crosby's agent talking about potential trades primarily to Montreal, there's a lot of thought into what would that do for the Penguins if they did trade him? What would you get back for him? Would that begin the rebuild immediately? Would it be draft picks? Would it be prospects? Not that I think anyone is wishing away Crosby, but if Crosby goes, this whole idea of keeping these old guys around like Rust and Raquel, that goes with him. You could see a very young team very quickly for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll delve into that a little bit as well, in addition to anything else major that comes across the pike. Oh, I see. Let me see this. Breaking news from baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers just announced that 3-time Cy Young winner and 11-time All-Star Clayton Kershaw will retire at the end of the season. This will be his final season, and tomorrow night will be his final start at home in Dodger Stadium in the regular season. Postseason still.
The Dodgers are a team that makes the postseason.
Yes. What's that, Nick?
I don't know. But
you mean there are games after September?
What?
Who plays in those?
I don't know. Bucktober. Remember
Bucktober.
That? That's the shortest month of the year,
It's
right?
even shorter anymore because they don't even make it to October
That's
half the time. The season ends at the end of September, so you don't have to worry about Bucktober anymore. Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting that, but he's going to retire, and Justin Verlander says he wants to pitch next year.
Nice.
So
he'll be the old man left, yeah.
Yes, the two elder statesmen of pitching in Major League Baseball, one will stay and one will go.
Max Scherzer, another one.
Could the Pirates sign Verlander, or is he too young?
I think he's too young.
I mean, weren't they trying? They had Rich Hill, so that's why.
Rich Hill,
who's still, by the way, around somewhere.
Savannah Bananas,
maybe. Actually, the Pirates should start looking at their roster. They went to all those went to Korea and Lithuania,
India.
Why don't they go to Savannah and see what they can get off of that roster?
$1 million arm.
They looked a whole lot better. India, yeah. Those guys on the Bananas looked a whole lot better than some of the people that come out of that tunnel at PNC. So,
oh yeah.
I would take it at that point.
We were trying to figure out, if not for Paul Skeens, who was the Pirates MVP, and boy, we had trouble coming up with a name.
I know. I mean, it's Nick Gonzalez probably has the best average. I mean, Dennis Santana.
Yeah, the Menace. I thought about him.
Yeah, I mean, but he on any other team, he's a middle reliever at best.
Exactly.
He was a Dodger. They released him.
And only became the closer when Bednar left.
Right. I can't think of a name. I mean, you could throw in a nostalgia act. The McCutcheon is 240 average out there.
That's not
but
bad.
They're all bad. I mean, Reynolds is bad, 243. I mean, those are the best averages beyond
240 is pretty good
or something.
For the Pirates? Come on.
Well, Major League Baseball doesn't care about averages anymore anyways, right?
No.
I mean, Skeens is going to win the Cy Young with a 10-10 record.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what does any of that matter? Who cares about stats? If stats are so irrelevant anymore, then there should be no issue going from 162 to like 150 or something like that.
Oh,
cutting down
cut it to 100.
But then all of a sudden, stats will be important again.
Yes.
But they'll tell you, oh, don't worry about strike. Don't worry about innings pitched. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Until you try to eliminate some games off of this ridiculous season.
Well, I don't know if they care about stats. It's the owners want their gate money. That's why they won't reduce the games.
Well, that is true. I mean, what kind of gate money's coming to PNC in September or August, for that matter, most of the time?
You don't want to go down and see the Athletics this weekend. You say you take them.
I
to the
would.
Pirates.
I'd go see Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, maybe Jack will be there.
There's bigger young stars on that team that are anywhere near the Pirates right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'd go
except
see
for the
that.
one.
I'd go see Langoliers and Rooker and Soderstrom. I mean, there's people there
Wow.
that are
Look at you.
young and have some talent. Pitching wise, they're lacking a little. They traded Mason Miller in the offseason.
Yeah,
they have that
flamethrower.
JT Ginn. I mean, there's a couple of guys.
Well, when they go to Vegas, maybe we'll get season tickets. That could be bad. Me at the casino every night. That could be rough.
Well, that'll be good. Will Tom Brady go into their coaching meetings, do you think?
I liked him with his headset and his suit on in the booth.
I love this
Like he was
controversy.
announcing.
Okay, so maybe it's a little bit of a conflict of interest, but still, I mean,
He's busy, man. He's announcing. The next day he's calling plays.
he's an announcer. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, he's talking to these players and these teams and getting all this inside info. Really? Are they giving? I mean, I watch these pregame shows. I don't recall seeing any inside info being dished out in any of these things. They're talking about what they eat for dinner. I mean, I can't imagine that there's any big revelation coming from a Tom Brady interview. And as a broadcaster, who cares if he is broadcasting a game? Owners can go to any game they want to and watch what's going on the field. So I don't think there's any advantage to that. Maybe a little conflict of interest because he has 2 jobs within the NFL. But, I mean, to me, I'm not worried. If he goes and sits at a coaching meeting with New England, I'm not worried he's going to be sharing their secrets with Las Vegas. And people in Pittsburgh shouldn't worry either, because you could go sit in a coaching meeting 10 years ago and get the same stuff for the Pittsburgh Steelers than what you're seeing right now. So not a whole lot of difference there. We'll start this week with the Steelers because I know it was a huge disappointment for probably everyone who's listening. I think everyone assumed that was going to be another win. The Steelers were going to start 2-0. They were going to bulldoze through this early part of the schedule and then maybe hold their own, maybe not hold their own when they got into that tougher part as they got to the midway point in the second half of the year. But it just doesn't always work out that way. They let a team that is inferior to them. I think Seattle was bad. I think you're going to see that in the coming weeks. This might be the only win they have for a while. I think Sam Darnold is I won't even say he's washed up, because that would imply there was a time where he was good. But he, with a good coach, actually was somewhat productive last year, just like the Steelers. Didn't win a playoff game, but still had a really good regular season record. Now you see him in a different situation, and he's shaky at best. And there are weapons there. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, this Arroyo kid who I thought looked good. He hung him out to dry a couple of times at tight end, and then Walker and Charbonnet, the running backs. There are weapons in Seattle. I don't know if it's Darnold or the line, but it seems like there's a lot of hesitation, not a ton of protection there. But he shined against the Steelers, and that seems to be the trend. Justin Fields shined against the Steelers. We haven't seen a game like that out of Justin Fields his entire career, whether he was a Bear, whether he was a Steeler, whether he was a Jet, just that one time. Because when he played a real opponent this last week, Justin Fields, before he got knocked out of the game and will not play this week because he's in concussion protocol, he threw for 37 yards. I mean, that's the anomaly is not the 37 yards going well into the fourth quarter. The anomaly is the 300 plus that he threw against Pittsburgh, plus everything that he did on the ground. The Jets should have never been in that game, but they were. Seattle should have never been in that game, but not only were they in the game, they won the game by the time it was all said and done. These are major issues that a lot of people out there just don't want to see. You don't want to admit it, because what you're going to say is, well, when the season's over, the Steelers are going to be 9-8 anyways. Have you looked at the money they spend on players on this team? Have you looked at the defense and how much money the defense makes? You're satisfied with 9-8 on a defense that walks around and says it's elite and gives up 30 or more points a game? You're satisfied with that if they can somehow finish 9-8, sneak into the playoffs, and get blown out once they get there, because not only has that been the trend, that's been the reality for this team for the last 8 years. Not like they get in and they get edged out or they get out-coached to the last minute. They get annihilated. They give up 40 or more points in the playoffs, as opposed to the 30 or more points that they give up in the regular season. And Nick, I'm going to point you to 2 specific areas that were my biggest issues that I saw with the Pittsburgh Steelers this last weekend against Seattle. At home, by the way. Number 1 is the obvious, the kick return, because Caleb Johnson clearly doesn't understand the rules of literally anything. He's not a good blocker. He's not a good right. Can't find holes. I mean, you go through and look. It looks like a bust already with another second-round pick, another early pick. Looks like he has no clue what he's doing out there. He's not the first to come in at a skill position and look like he has absolutely no idea what to do. Doesn't understand the rule. I know it's new. Don't think the coaches understand the rule either, which is a big issue. That's why a player who just got there, standing there explaining to him on the sidelines what he did wrong, because he's still standing there with no idea. Oh, everybody came over to yell at him, but no one actually coached him and told him what he did wrong and how to fix it. What's the solution to that? Did they have him in there watching film? Did they have him in there giving him extra help? No. Mike Tomlin announced he will no longer be part of the kick return. Well, that's great. I'm sure that'll really help his confidence. Not only is he probably in the lowest point of any player on that team, he had players yelling at him. Apparently one of them came up, got right in his face and swore at him. in the clubhouse, not saying who it is, Aaron Rodgers, but somebody came in there and apparently lit him up in the clubhouse. No help from the coaches. Tomlin probably sat back and laughed and let it happen. I mean, that's, once again, the culture on this team. The other issue shouldn't be a shock. I don't know if I have the yard line right. 4th and 1, 48-yard line. Do they go for it? No, they punt in a game that really was on the line at that point. They could have won the game at that particular time. I think it was tied or something like that. And he doesn't live in his fears, but instead of trying to if you can't get 1 yard on the 48-yard line and your elite defense can't stop that team from scoring a touchdown, then you have no business walking around talking about yourself like you're a potential playoff team. 4th and 1, they punt for field position and end up allowing Seattle to travel the entire length of the field and score on them. Those two, more so than anything, I think are anticlimactic of where the Pittsburgh Steelers are right now. They don't understand the rules. They're not coached well. They look like they're going through the motions. And most importantly, even though he says he doesn't do it every single week, that moron lives in his fears. And that usually contributes to a Steeler loss. And that's what we saw this past Sunday. I would be embarrassed if I was the coach of this team coming in 1-0, and that's how I look in my home opener against a bunch of fans that have their black and gold glasses on and are convinced this is a Super Bowl team. What an embarrassment to lose to a team who got embarrassed the week before by a mid-tier San Francisco 49er team who's got half the team hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to look at this game. It's a game you should win. Seattle's coming all the way across the country, and they were embarrassed or at least lost to a division rival week 1, so maybe they were a bit desperate. They really don't have that many weapons. Jackson Smith-Njigba's a really good receiver. That's about it. Walker's a decent back, but, I like Sam Darnold. I don't think that's a guy that should scare you. Cooper Kupp had a good game, the veteran, but yeah, the Caleb Johnson thing's inexcusable. He should know the role. Somebody should be making sure that he knew that role, and that's stuff that loses you games. And if you can't beat Seattle at home, what are you going to do down the stretch when you play better teams? And this was the stretch of the schedule where they had to make hay and beat inferior teams like these first 3 games, the Jets, Seattle, and New England. Now you go to New England, you lose that, you're 1-2 going to Ireland, and, whether it's J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz, that's not an easy game because they have great skill players. So very discouraging loss in a game they should have won, Dave.
You go back and you can pick apart so many areas. I look at the defense. That's number one because they make so much money. Sam Darnold throws for almost 300 yards. He couldn't throw for 300 yards. I bet he doesn't throw for 300 in the next 2 weeks combined. So he throws for almost 300 yards. Kenny Walker, who was benched in week 1, rushes for 105.
He tore him up.
I mean, you're stopping nothing on this defense. But hey, at least all the big money, at least they led the team in tackles.
Yeah.
Let's go through to look. Peyton Wilson. Is he one of their big money guys?
Sure.
He's their leading tackler. Chuck Clark. Oh, no, wait, not one of the big. Oh, Juan Thornhill. Nah, it's not one of the big guys. Jack Sawyer. Nope. I say the top 4 tacklers on this team are guys that either were drafted within the last couple of years or came over as free agents and are backups. Where are all the starters? I mean, Ramsey had 6 tackles, okay, but he's, a safety/corner, so he's like a hybrid who had to play corner. Oh, then there's Hayward. He had 5. By the way, how many sacks does he have to get his incentive? 11? Ooh, I don't see that happening. He has 0 right now after the first 2 weeks. Oh, wait, 4 tackles. TJ Watt, he looked real effective in that game. I mean, he had his moments, I guess, but I mean, one series where he makes 2 plays and he only has 2 other tackles beside that, not necessarily getting the job done. Nick Herbig, I like him. He's quick, but he's little and can't get in on any plays. He had 3 tackles. I mean, you start Y.A. Black had 3. They didn't even start him. He came in midway through. Where's Benton? Where are these guys? I mean, these are the people that you're throwing out there, and you're trying to convince the fan base this is an elite defense, and you've been shredded 2 weeks in a row by the Jets and the Seahawks. Come on. Who in their right mind is going to believe that this is a defense that's going to take this team to the playoffs? Because the offense certainly isn't going to take them there. So you've got to look at this defense as the catalyst. That's all he talks about, splash plays. That's why they punt on 4th and 1 from the 48, because he's convinced the defense can hold them to 3 downs at a punt, and the Steelers are going to win the field position battle. Meanwhile, they haven't won that battle for years because the defense is like paper mache. People run right through them like they're not even there. It's just idiotic to sit there and watch this and think that this is a team that's going somewhere. They try to arm tackle. Nobody really tackles well. Then they try to hit you after you catch the ball. I mean, that's their whole scheme. That's their whole defense. And when you play younger, faster players, most of the time you're nowhere near in position to be able to stop anything that they're doing. It's an absolute mess. It's a dumpster fire. If they would wheel a dumpster out and put it at the 50-yard line at Acrisure last year and lit it on fire, that would have the same effect as that Steeler defense stopping Sam Darnold and Kenny Walker and Jackson Smith and Jigba or anybody else. At least they wouldn't run near the Flames because there's nothing stopping them running near Ramsey and Slay and anybody else that's out there. Patrick Queen, by the way, where was he? Oh, he was limping on and off the field constantly. How many series was Watt not out there? Quite a few. So you look at this defense, you look at what they get paid, you look at the effectiveness of them, and it just doesn't make sense. But for the Steelers, it made sense because they had a ton of money and nobody to go out there and sign and no young players to renew contracts for. So they just went out and bought a bunch of old guys or renewed a bunch of old guys. And there you go. There you have it. What do you see after 2 weeks? 1-1 with a defense giving up more points and more yards than anybody else in the league. So congratulations, Pittsburgh Steelers. You're doing a phenomenal job.
They should try that with the dumpster. I think that would be more effective. Make sure it's a young dumpster that's not taking up a lot of money because it's an old, overpaid defense, and it was supposed to be historic, but he never specified Coach T. Maybe he meant historically bad. We shouldn't have assumed he meant good. It is awful. You give up the one touchdown Seattle got was not on the defense, so we'll say they gave up 24 points. That's too many. Then the week before, you give up 32 to the Jets. I mean, then you let Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker just run all over you. Maybe you'll let New England run all over you this week. Yeah, I mean, we thought the offense would have issues, but the defense has been underwhelming to say the least. And yeah, it's just mental errors. And you're right. You said off the air, Rodgers may not make it 4 weeks. The O-line's not good. The defense is bad. There's no running game. I don't like their receiving weapons, really. So maybe we should be happy they're 1-1. They could easily be 0-2, Dave.
That is true. And the offense has its issues too. Actually, I think the dumpster on fire would have more effect on offense because at least if it's out there, the defensive players will have to run around it. They run right through Broderick Jones.
Right through Broderick Jones.
Right. So at least they have to run around the dumpster.
Yeah.
That might give Rodgers a few more seconds. That might be more effective there.
Yeah.
But there are issues there. Rodgers has no time, and he makes bad decisions, as you see. Rodgers is not a guy that's going to throw the ball out of bounds. He never did it his whole career. He's not going to do it here either. So whenever they're coming after him, he's going to try to chuck it downfield, half the time falling over backwards, and you saw where that led. It led to 2 picks based on the fact that they could not protect him. The running game is pretty much non-existent, although they don't really give it a chance to get going because of this fascination with Kenneth Gainwell. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. You pay Jaylen Warren, you tell him he's your number 1 back, and then he's only out there half the time. Yeah. He did look effective when he was there, and then you think, okay, well, they can build on that, and then here comes Gainwell trotting out onto the field. Are you kidding me? Why? He's the new Cordarrelle Patterson.
Well, they're not going to use Caleb Johnson anymore.
Well, you forget about him. I think Trey Sermon might get activated off the practice squad, and they'll use him as a returner.
Well, they like Gainwell because he's a winner. He was like the 5th string running back on the Eagles, won a Super Bowl. I don't know. That was odd. He's out there a lot.
And then where are the receivers? Where are the receivers in this whole scheme? Jaylen Warren's your leading receiver. And that was one play, really, that got that. Freiermuth is non-existent at 3 catches for 31 yards. He won't catch a touchdown all year. Jonnu Smith's going backwards when he catches it. Austin, how many mistakes were made there? He can't run the right routes, and he can't beat the coverage. He's supposed to be the fastest guy in the history of football. Roman Wilson got his first catch. Everyone was excited. That almost went for negative yards. And DK Metcalf, the big revenge game, already got a touchdown. That was part of his 20 yards of receiving in his 3 catches that he had. Now, in fairness to those guys, Rodgers had next to no time. But in the end, if that's not working, then why does it continue? If you know Broderick Jones can't play left tackle, then why is he still being paraded out there week in and week out? Make a change. Put someone else over there. Put Darnell Washington over there. If you're going to leave him in there to block anyways, just line him up at left tackle and let him try that. Then you still have other tight ends that can catch balls. You're not wasting a spot for a seventh lineman. Maybe if he plays left tackle, you don't need a seventh lineman. I mean, there's a ton of issues that are just built up around this team. And once again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. Because of lack of coaching, none of them will be fixed. And you're going to see a similar situation to what you see here. They'll play teams that aren't ready for the game plan, and they'll beat them in the regular season. That doesn't happen in the postseason. Everybody's ready for them. All they got to do is watch film from 2016. They see the same stuff, just a different quarterback back there. Even Rodgers making audible. I didn't see Rodgers changing plays much at the line. It looked like the garbage that we saw for most of last year that was put out there on that field on Sunday. And if that continues, get ready for the up and down roller coaster ride that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to give you in 2025. We got to take a break because I'm right up against it. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. Nick and I will talk about Steelers Patriots. We'll pick that game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Dr. Alyssa Lorenz of U.S. Digestive Health in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Common issues like difficulty with swallowing, frequent heartburn, recurrent abdominal pain, bowel habit problems, and rectal bleeding are often easily diagnosed and treated. Dr. Calabrese, Stokes, Hoppy, and I are local gastroenterologists that are here to help. For more information, call our Uniontown office at 724-437-7677.
Shopping for replacement windows in Fayette County? Metropolitan Window Company elevates your shopping experience.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, a family-owned and operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you'll experience personalized knowledge, expertise, and professionalism from our first visit to your home until our craftsmen complete your installation.
We're the window company that people want in their homes, and our exclusive Infinity by Marvin 100% fiberglass windows are the windows people love.
They're built for life. They are the strongest, longest-lasting windows you can buy.
We have a great selection of colors and finishes. We service the entire Fayette County area and will come to your home. Visit us at metropolitanwindows.com or give us a call at
412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
I've been thinking about switching primary care providers. It takes forever to get an appointment, and when I finally get in, the staff acts like they don't even care that I'm there.
That's so frustrating. You deserve a provider who listens, values your time, and truly cares about your health.
That's exactly what I need. Someone who sees me as a person, not just another name on a chart.
Then you should check out Montgomery Medical. They treat you like family, offer personalized care, and even have same-day appointments.
At Montgomery Medical, your health is our priority. Call 724-569-8100 Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Your local station, WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. So all of the anger out from last week, I hate that I've sit there and watch. Not that I root for the Steelers. Like, it's actually better for me when they lose, but in the end, I still got to sit there and watch it, and it's just disgusting to watch. Like, no NFL team should be run that way. College teams are run better than that. At least they're more creative and innovative with some of the stuff they do. This is like watching like a bad high school game where they don't have any play. They're starting like all freshmen and sophomores.
Oh, I've seen plenty
they can't
of them.
throw the ball,
Yeah.
you're just running, turn around, run the ball, run. You get like 2 yards, but you're going to run again. Maybe you 3 times, you add the numbers, you get to 10, you get another set of downs. It's really, really bad. So I watching that and Seattle, Sam Darnold,
My boy.
Yeah, that's Nick's favorite quarterback probably of all
He's
time.
fine. Please, he's better than half the quarterbacks in the league. Not half, but give him a little credit. It's not all the bad Steeler defense.
He's better than Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I'll try to think if there are any more.
Justin Fields.
I'll tell you somebody he's not better than, Drake May. The New England Patriots, they lose the first week to Vegas. They look a whole lot better this past week against Miami. Their defense is, I think, shaky at best, but if you play fantasy football, they get you a lot of fantasy points every week. They do all the cool stuff. They get the stats and the sacks, the interceptions, the fumble. I think they had a touchdown. So they do some of that. But Drake May is starting to come into his own. I think he's bought into the Josh McDaniels offense. And they still are lacking, I think, with some skill position players. But I think they're going to give the Steelers fits. I think McDaniels has been around. He's been with that team through all of those Super Bowl wins. He knows what the Steeler defense does, and we know they're not going to make any changes or adjustments. So if anybody can put a scheme together that's probably a worse team on paper and can actually come out and beat the Steelers, I think it's the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, he's been there too. They've done their rounds. They know the storyline with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the one drawback. When you have a coach that's been around against Mike Tomlin, they get to a point where they get stubborn. They don't want to make changes. And any other coaches that have been around a while, they know what's coming because things look eerily similar every single time. So I think the game plan will be just fine for New England. I think they'll have a great idea of what the Steelers are going to do. And New England's in the total opposite position as Pittsburgh. They're both around the same. They're going to be around 500, but New England has young players who they've drafted within the last couple years who are going to become the focal point of their team. The Steelers have a bunch of old guys who were drafted in the 2000s and 2010s who are the focal point of their team. One is going in a positive direction. One is going in a negative direction. Nick, can you guess which one's going where?
Yes, I'm going to say New England's going, their arrow's pointing up, as Coach T would say. Yeah, Mike Vrabel I like a lot, even though he's not an offensive coach. Drake May coming into his own. I still don't think they have the best weapons, but they could definitely win this game Sunday at home.
Well, they like their rookies. They like Travion Henderson, who's starting to work his way into that running back position, although Ramondre Stevenson's been okay.
Who's not?
They like a lot. Yeah. And Diggs is there and Booty's there. They have some other guys. And
Cardi
Hunter
B's
Henry
boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah, so they by 1.5. Tell us, Nick, what's going to happen.
Go ahead. Let's drive up and go, Dave. We'll tailgate. It's about a 9-hour drive. Why not? Well, I waffled. Steelers are favored on the road. I almost went New England, but I think the Steelers, not that they're desperate at 1-1. Both teams are 1-1, but you don't want to go 1-2, going to Ireland, then the bye. What if you're 1-3? Oh, no. I'll give it to the Steelers. I think it's another low-scoring rock fight. I've predicted that the last few weeks. Really hasn't turned out, but I'll give it to the Steelers, 2016. But New England could easily win. Wouldn't shock me either way.
Well, I'll go through the picks that the guys made. Brian picked New England. Matt picked the Steelers. Josh took the Patriots. That says Josh Esquire on it.
Yes, the attorney at law.
Yes, TJ took the Steelers. Bill took the Steelers, which brings it to me. So I know everyone probably assumes I'm going to take the Patriots, and I'll be totally honest with you. I'm going to sit there and root for them from the time that kickoff happens until that game is over. But I'm going to go with the rationale that I used last week when I took the Steelers, figuring that, well, if they don't win, at least I won't be super disappointed with my pick. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one. They seem to bounce back from what would look like the biggest disappointment ever. And I think New England's still a little too young to be able to sort of mix and match whatever the Steelers are going to do. I don't expect to see much difference from the Steelers. You'll see a new kick returner, maybe Sermon, maybe Roman Wilson, maybe Austin. How about Austin? He's the fastest guy in football. How about put him back there and let him run kicks back? We know Gainwell's going to be back there. So I think you might see a few adjustments there, but outside of that, I don't think many more or any more adjustments. I think Tomlin thinks the defense is just fine. He'll plug Sawyer in for Highsmith and whatever he's going to do with the secondary, depending on who plays and who doesn't play. I think the Patriots' time is coming, but not this year. I'm going to give it to the Steelers on the road at Foxborough. Just when you think they're at their lowest, they end up winning a game. They won't win many more this year, but they'll win that one. I'm going to go Steelers, low scoring as well. Probably a Boswell field goal wins it as the clock is expiring. If Tomlin can figure out how to use the clock situation, you might see that happen. So there you go. So we've picked one. We've got the rest to pick in hour 2. We've got baseball. We've got college football, more NFL, a lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of the Sports Voice is coming up.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Congressional Democrats have unveiled a bill to bolster free speech protections in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing. Senator Chuck Schumer.
One of the great hallmarks of our country is free speech, whether you agree or disagree. And this administration is trying to snuff it out. They don't want people to even speak when they don't like what they say.
Representative Ro Khanna wants FCC Chair Brendan Carr to appear before Congress to explain his role in the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's show. He said the administration is making comedy illegal. Jennifer Kuiper reports.
David Letterman, during a sit-down with Jeffrey Goldberg at the Atlantic Festival, didn't hold back when the topic of the Jimmy Kimmel Live show being preempted indefinitely by Disney's ABC came up.
It's silly, it's ridiculous, and you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
Letterman calls it managed media. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's new Vaccine Advisory Committee has begun its 2-day meeting. It is expected to release its recommendations on the COVID-19 vaccine tomorrow. CBS's Mark Strassman is there.
The more steps, the more impediments you put in the way between the consumer and the dose of whatever vaccine the consumer is potentially interested in, the less likely it is for the consumer to get that. So that is really what's at stake here, is whether the consumer is still going to have the option to get the vaccine as easily as he or she has in years past.
President Trump is heading back to the U.S. from Britain. Before leaving, he held a news conference with Prime Minister Keir Starmer and was asked about sanctions on Russia. He insisted European countries must first stop purchasing its oil.
I'm willing to do other things, but not when the people that I'm fighting for are buying oil from Russia. If the oil price comes down, very simply, Russia will settle.
And he said he wants the Taliban to return a massive air base in Afghanistan that the U.S. evacuated during the withdrawal.
It's one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back.
Trump suggested U.S. troops could return to Bagram because of its proximity to China. It's unclear if the U.S. has had any direct or indirect conversations with the Taliban government. On Wall Street today, stocks finished higher. The Dow was up 124 points. The Nasdaq up more than 200. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Pizza Kings in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp. So if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza Kings, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Death by chocolate? Not likely. Here's Deborah Rodriguez.
Freaking out about getting older? Try chocolate. Results of a trial by researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital show cocoa extract supplements may actually help you live longer by slowing down the inflammation that accelerates aging and reducing the risk of chronic disease. One of the authors, Dr. Howard Sesso, says the results call for more attention to the advantage of plant-based foods for cardiovascular health, including cocoa products, which are rich in flavonols. Others include fruits, vegetables, and tea, all hailed for their antioxidant properties. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Uber Eats will soon be using drones to deliver some meals. It's partnering with a drone company called Flytrex, and the two will begin deliveries in test markets by the end of the year. It's the latest partnership in the fast-growing drone delivery space. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
5:05, sunny and 81 on this Thursday. Good afternoon. I'm Nick Barczyk. It is a Thursday afternoon from the Davis & Davis studios. Davis & Davis attorneys at law. Injured, call today for your free consultation. 724-437-2799. Your local station, WMBS, the Weather Watch and Sports on the way. A wanted fugitive from Fayette County is now in custody after years on the run. The Allegheny County Sheriff's Office says 47-year-old Craig David has been on the run since 2020 when he allegedly failed to appear in court for firearms-related charges. David was taken into custody this week in West Virginia. He is now awaiting extradition to Pennsylvania. First-time filings for unemployment are dropping around Pennsylvania. That's according to the U.S. Labor Department, which says for the week ending September 13th, there are more than 8,600 first-time filings in the state. The number is lower than the week before. Nationally, the number of initial filings dropped for the week. Governor Shapiro is suggesting that some people, among them President Trump, want to cherry-pick, in his words, which instances of political violence they condemn. The governor's remarks follow the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in Utah last week. During a recent summit in Pittsburgh, the governor told attendees, "During moments like this, I believe we have a responsibility to be clear and unequivocal in calling out all forms of political violence and making clear it is all very wrong." In Pennsylvania, U.S. Senators John Fetterman and Dave McCormick condemned political violence and extreme rhetoric during a joint appearance this week on national TV. The senators said their address was an attempt to turn down the political temperature following last week's assassination of Charlie Kirk. Only 35% of parents are satisfied with the quality of kindergarten through high school education in the United States.
According to a recent Walton Family Foundation Gallup poll, only 7% of respondents are completely satisfied, while 28% report being somewhat satisfied. The findings mark the lowest satisfaction level since Gallup began conducting the poll in 1999. The previous low mark of 36% satisfaction happened in the 2000 and 2023 versions of the survey. The findings come several months after President Trump signed an executive order directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon to dismantle the department. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Sports and weather next on WMPS.
Hey everyone, it's Josh Krysak here with Ron Romeo from Ultimate Structures outside of Perryopolis. Ron, is it true that at Ultimate Structures you can customize sheds and metal buildings to meet your client needs?
Absolutely, Josh. Each manufacturer that I represent offers an on-site design program to develop the building of your needs.
What kind of enhancements and options are available for those looking for a new shed or metal building?
We basically start out with a model without options. The customer chooses a style and size. There's hundreds of options available to design what works best for the customer's needs.
When you're ready to take your storage building game to the next level, call Ultimate Structures at 724-415-0020. Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis. They design what you desire.
In sports, we have football tonight, week 3 of the NFL season. Bills big favorites over the Dolphins at home. Josh Allen against Tua tonight at 7:30 on WMBS. Steelers at 1-1 are at the 1-1 Patriots in New England Sunday at 1 o'clock on WMBS. Injury report is out. Dave, I think we'll get that to you next hour. And on the way, Friday night, CR Parada Group High School Sports Night, or this hour, I guess. CR Parada Group High School Sports Night tomorrow night. Mount Pleasant's at Laurel Highlands on the radio and Facebook, while the Red Raiders of Uniontown at the Albert Gallatin Colonials online. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame at 6, games at 7 Friday night, with the scoreboard show afterwards, brought to you by Trib Live on WMBS. In baseball, Pirates are off tonight. They have lost 6 in a row. They take on the Athletics this weekend at PNC Park for their last home series of the season. And Major League Baseball players are voicing their opposition to the league's push for a salary cap in the next CBA collective bargaining agreement. Multiple outlets report that the players are calling the move a declaration of war. The MLB Players Association has condemned the salary cap proposal as institutional collusion and a serious threat to players' earnings and the sport's integrity. The current CBA is said to expire in December 2026, and the situation has raised the likelihood of difficult negotiations ahead that could affect negatively the 2027 season.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
Another late, nice summer day, sunny and, let's update that weather bug. It is sunny and 82. An air quality alert through 8 this evening. Overnight low 57, 85 with sun Friday, 84 Saturday, chance of some rain late Sunday at 83, then thunderstorms early next week. It's 5:10, sunny and 81. Good afternoon, I'm Nick Barchak. Stock report, then the second hour of the Sports Voice with Dave Dunaway on WMBS.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montibed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Chris Felicki of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 124.1 points, closing at 46,142. The Nasdaq Composite was up 209.4 points, closing at 22,471. And the S&P 500 index was up 31.6 points, closing at 6,632. On companies of local interest, Apple, $237.88, down $1.11. Amazon, $231.23, down 39 cents. Cisco, $68.68, up 96 cents. Boeing, $215.60, up 96 cents. Caterpillar, $467.42, up 16.76. Disney, $114.86, down $1.24. ExxonMobil, $113.96, down $1.33. First Energy, $43.43, down 1 cent. Johnson & Johnson, $174.14, down $3.06. Home Depot, $417.47, up 47 cents. Intel, $30.57, up $5.67. McDonald's, $301.07, down $3.90. Meta Platforms, $780.25, up $4.53. PNC Financial Services, $206.20, up $2.43. Raytheon Technologies, $158.18, down 13 cents. Rockwell Automation, $348.46, up $3.80. Tesla, $416.85, down $9.01. Verizon, $43.66, down 55 cents. Walmart, $103.62, down 65 cents. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 124.1 points, closing at 46,142. The Nasdaq Composite was up 209.4 points, closing at 22,471. And the S&P 500 index was up 31.6 points, closing at 6,632. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all your investment needs, this is Chris Spolicki.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like John from Morgantown. John had such extreme numbness and pain that he was having difficulty feeling his car pedals. Then John discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive and painless. John's great results have given his freedom back, and he's doing the things he wants, like simply driving or cutting the grass. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help John, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Say hello to fall. Your flair, your way. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the State Farm Building rear. We're known for our distinguished Western, Southwest, and boho accessories, including custom and concealed carry handbags, but we offer a large variety of fashionable styles. And just refreshed for fall, we have an amazing selection of spiny oyster, turquoise, nickel silver, copper, and gemstone fun fashion jewelry. And we're so excited to bring you affordable indulgence. 24% lead crystals wrapped in tarnish-free silver and gold wire for enhanced clarity, brilliance, and sparkle. These bracelets, pendants, earrings, and bands are stunning and show-stopping, to say the least. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, 724-557-6184. Open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5. Not high-end, just nice-end. Strap, you're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Voice. Ahead on this hour, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they have clinched last place in their division. They are mathematically eliminated from the postseason. That's actually kind of late. Normally that's around June. And once again, nothing to show for a second full year of Paul Skeens. Outside of his start in the All-Star game, he's 10-10 with the best ERA in baseball, letting down the only superstar they have on that team. How can you possibly sell this fan base that next year is going to be any better? We'll also look at some other stories around baseball. The Dodgers announcing today that Clayton Kershaw is going to retire, and all of this drama that surrounds a potential salary cap and what it might take with the player's contract up in December of 2026. Maybe only one more year of baseball as you know it, because the owners look like they're ready to draw the line in the sand, because more than you think are actually losing money. Don't worry, not your owner, not the owner of the team closest to your house that you love and root for, even though they're going to lose 90 plus games this year. He's making money. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere, because I can't imagine a better situation for him than this. Not really a whole lot of Penguin news. They're going to be at camp. Well, when's Fleury playing his fictitious game? Is that next week? I won't be anywhere near it. I hope a puck goes right off his head. I hope he forgets to put his mask on. Fleury going to finish
a little harsh.
Strong in an exhibition game. He can't stay out of the spotlight. Supposed to be retired, has to suit up for one more so he can say he's going to retire with the Penguins. Normally that's a ceremonial thing.
The Penguins
you go,
reached
you
out
have
to
a
him.
press conference, you say, hey, I want to retire as a Penguin. I want to go in the Hall of Fame as a Penguin. All right, fine, whatever. Why do we have to see you out there on the ice yet again? Last time I saw him on the ice down at PPG Paints, he was getting annihilated as a member of the Blackhawks and didn't make it out of the first period. But whatever. I'm sure it'll be sold out. Everybody will go with their shirts and their tears to make sure they get to see the Flower for one last appearance. But the real stories revolving around the Penguins with real games involve the potential, it's still being discussed. Will Sidney Crosby make it through this year, or will he be traded to, from what I hear, Montreal, who is trying to put together a push to win a Stanley Cup, and they feel they have all the pieces in place. He is the catalyst that could make that happen. They do have good players, some really good young players in Montreal, but I can't imagine Cal Dubas, the genius that he is, would allow Crosby to be traded there and not bring some of those young players back. You can't trade Crosby for draft picks. You just can't. The Penguins have more draft picks than anybody else. And if he goes to Montreal and they do go on a push to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to be picking last. You got to get more than draft picks. You've got to get established stars, maybe prospects, whatever. You can't just get draft picks if you make this deal. Not really anything that I've heard of any note that this is serious, but if his agent's talking about it, he's got to be talking about it too. So we'll just kind of wait and listen to what could potentially be taking place there. We'll run down college football. We'll run down last week in the NFL. And then when we come back for our second segment, we will make our picks of the week 3. Hard to believe. Seems like I was just going through my trip through the preseason, talking about all the teams and making my predictions. We're week 3 of the NFL season, which begins tonight in Buffalo as they host the Dolphins, and IT Tech Mike McDaniel, who's their head coach. I'm sure he's got a game plan all schemed up for that one. So a lot to get through on this edition of the Sports Voice. We'll start with the Pirates because I feel like I shortchanged them in the first hour. I only talked badly about them for about 3 minutes, so we want to get a little bit more of that in. Nick made a good point at the very end talking about the lack of stars on this team. And there's literally nobody. You get beyond Paul Skeens, there is nobody on this team that even resembles a major league player outside of maybe 3 or 4 guys. Outside of that, you're looking at a bunch of people, most of them picked up off waivers, that are on this roster, have been here for a while, and it doesn't look like there's any movement or progression to get any of the Pirate young players any closer to Major League Baseball. You've got, and I get it, they're happy. Altuna's in the playoffs. Altuna's in the playoffs for 2 reasons. Connor Griffin and Esmeralyn Valdez, who were both called up about a month ago, and that's when the turn started because Altoona was under 500 before they got there. Instead of worrying about them playing in a playoff series, Indianapolis is still going. Why not bring them up to the AAA level? Let them get a little bit of experience there because that could hasten their journey to Major League Baseball. Well, I answered the question with that answer. That's why they didn't get called up there, because it would hasten the journey to Major League Baseball. Cherington doesn't want these guys up any sooner than they have to be. He wants waves to come up so he can sell you the future. And, okay, well, when we let Skeens walk away, we've got Bubba Chandler. Well, Bubba Chandler's been average at best. And I'm not just talking about with the Pirates. He was average at best all year with Indianapolis. He's no Paul Skeens, and you'll find that out real quick once they let Paul Skeens walk away. Skeens might have had the worst outing of his career earlier this week. Gave up, 4 runs? Chandler gave up 9 a week ago. I mean, you're not going to see that out of Skeens probably ever, but you'll see it out of pretty much every other pitcher in Major League Baseball. Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball, maybe the best player in baseball, who knows? And they're going to let him walk with getting next to nothing in return, just like they have with others in the past. If Valdez and Griffin would come up to Indianapolis, they'd get some of those at-bats that Sherrington says they need so badly, which might have them on the fast track to come up in June. But there's no way you're going to call up a 22 and 20-year-old in June. Not on that team. Oh, no. They'll find some guys on the waiver wire that they can put in those places instead of them. Or they'll go out and sign some overpriced, overaged free agents because they'll tell you that's all that wants to come here. And then they can start selling Seth Hernandez and Edward Florentino and all these other guys that are 18 and 19 that are in low single A at this point. It's just an absolute joke. Anyone that believes there's any notion on this team that they're trying to win is delusional. They could care less about winning. It's all about padding the pockets, making money, adding to the value of this franchise and the current system of Major League Baseball, whereas it doesn't help every team make money. It certainly helps this team make money because the payroll is traditionally one of the lowest in Major League Baseball every single year, and the record is also usually one of the 5 lowest in Major League Baseball. In the tenure of Ben Sherrington as GM, they've picked first in the draft twice. That should tell you just how dismal and dreary it's been, and right now they're the 3rd worst team in baseball. I'm sorry, fourth worst team in baseball.
Yeah.
The White Sox, the Nationals, and the Rockies are the only teams worse than them. So we're supposed to be excited for what next year? For the return of Brian Reynolds. Is McCutchen going to come back? Jared Triolo. How about Jared Triolo, the Gold Glover, playing third base now and hitting 220 while he's doing it? O'Neal Cruz is almost under 200. We're going to get excited about him, watch him strike out and misplay balls in center field every single night. I mean, this is what's there. Like, I agree, Nick. I don't think there's no one I see that for what any way looks like they would be an above average player in Major League Baseball outside of maybe Gonzalez, maybe Santana, maybe Matson, Keller. I mean, now you're really grasping at straws. Chandler. I mean, there's not many, I guess, is what I'm trying to say on this team.
But, Dave, it's not the Pirates' fault. It's Major League Baseball's fault. It's the structure. It's the lack of a salary cap. That's what we'll hear.
I know. Those small market teams can't win. Milwaukee would never be the best team in baseball.
Never.
The Tigers will never win their division.
Never. Absolutely not. And, it's just not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. And then when they did win, they made us play a one-game wild card. Not fair. And nowadays...
They certainly had the pitcher for that. Now they actually have a pitcher for that, and they're going to let him go.
Well, they lose 2-1. They'd get no offense in that game.
That is true, yeah.
So there's that. You can never have the pitching and the offense both be good at the same time, and they do have a good rotation. And even if Skeens were to stick around for the foreseeable future, they are not going to invest in offense. This lineup is just Shrek. And the defense, O'Neal Cruz out in center, it's like a barnyard musical. What's more fun to watch? Him in center field or Caleb Johnson fielding a kickoff? They're both pretty fun.
Eerily similar.
Yeah, it's a mess. And Donnie Kelly has been better. Yes, he has been better than the worst manager we've ever seen. I'll give him that. But Ben Sherrington, it's been bad drafting, bad lack of good trades. So we'll get a new general manager.
Everything. They've not had anything
I'm sure
positive.
There's a line of free agents wanting to come play for this team. I don't think it'll matter who the GM is to get free agents here. They're not going to come. But yeah, another 90-plus loss season, and there you go. It's same as it ever was next year, Dave. Do you see any improvement? Is there any way they win more games than they did this year next year?
Well, no, because they're going to basically parade pretty much that same roster out there. And it's kind of like the Steelers. The Steelers do the same thing. They bring these same people back, and they think they're going to miraculously get better. The Penguins have done that for the last couple of years.
What's the definition of insanity again?
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh sports.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you move on from Cruz? I think they need to. I think it's time. He's 26. He's not getting any better.
He hits the ball so hard, Dave.
Yeah, but he has to hit the ball for that to happen.
Yeah.
How often does he hit the ball? He's hitting almost, 201 or something? He's almost under 200. So I don't think he hits the ball enough to worry about how hard he hits it. And with all the mistakes he makes in the field, that I think overtakes anything he could do offensively.
Can they make him the DH? But they got to keep a roster spot for Kutch.
Yeah, but even at DH, he's hitting 200.
Oh, I know.
Is it even worth... he's eligible for arbitration this upcoming season. He'll probably lose, but still, you're getting into that area now where it's a little bit sketchy. do you move on from him? Can you sell other teams on how hard he hits the ball and how hard he throws the ball? Will they give up something of remote value to take this guy off your hands? Because even if he does get better, it's not going to be in Pittsburgh. As long as he stays in Pittsburgh, just like Jose Batista, go down the list of guys that leave and get better. He's one of those guys. He's been here long enough. He's not gotten any better. He's gotten worse, if you ask me. If he does get better, it's going to be on another team. Why don't we hasten that? We worry about trying to keep guys down as long as we can. Why don't we get rid of people at a sooner pace? I think it's time for him to go, and I think there's a whole line of people that can follow him out the door. I think it's time to move on. The pitching rotation, whatever. I mean, if you want to keep Keller around, he's got double-digit losses, but I guess so does Skeens. You bring in Chandler, you might bring up Barco. Then you've got the semblance of a rotation. Maybe have Ashcraft as your number 5. Maybe Oviedo if you're sold on that. The bullpen, if you're going to pitch these pitchers 4 or 5 innings, then you better have good people that are coming in next, and they don't have that. The guys they bring in that short middle relief are terrible. If you want to keep Santana and Matson as the bullpen back, whatever, you can kind of deal with that. Bednar might be available to bring back. Can't imagine they're going to want to keep him around in New York. So look at the pitching. It is what it is. Fielding, I mean, who do you keep? Horwitz maybe at first, Gonzalez at second. What do you do with the left side of the infield? I thought maybe York, but he's struggled at the plate. They had Flores up there trying to play, first base yesterday. He's horrible. I mean, that's another botch of a trade. You can tell already. Triolo, really? A utility guy? You're going to put him in as the everyday third baseman? Catcher's been a disaster between Davis and Bart. Neither can hit. And then you go into the outfield. McCutchen can't play the field. Reynolds will only play right field. So that puts Cruz in center. You got Pham. I'm sure he'll want to come back. They might bring him back. Who knows? Now he can see. I guess it's better to have him out there. I don't know. I mean, there's nobody on this roster outside of Skeens that I would look at and say they definitely have to come back and be part of this team next year. I'd have every single player on a trade line.
You'd scrub it clean. I mean, you almost have to do that when you keep losing 90-plus games. Get rid of the general manager. They already got rid of the manager. And maybe, clean house. And the philosophy, though, from the owner is going to remain the same, and the amount of money he's willing to spend on baseball, that's going to stay the same, even if you bring... I mean, what's the point in getting rid of one group of bad players if they're going to bring in another group of bad players?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you change just for change's sake? I think the Steelers did a lot of lateral moves this offseason. The Pirates may do that. I don't know if they'll win one more game, though, even with the new GM, with a few new names in the lineup, if they're not quality names and quality bats. But, yeah, at least we get Skeens every 5th day. That's something to look forward to.
Well, the only hope you have with the Pirates is that these players in the farm system actually are as good as they're telling you, and a new GM actually tries to get them up on the Major League roster at a reasonable rate.
We've been hearing that for years, though, how great their farm system is, though, right?
Yeah, but they bury them down there, and by the time they come up, they're 24, 25. When they're their hottest, they stay at the level they're at and probably get super frustrated by it. So, yes, most of the ones that have come up have been major busts. I think Griffin's legit. I'm not sure about Valdez, but he's hit for power at every level of minor league baseball he's played up to this point. These other guys that are younger, who knows? But, I mean, AAA is a bunch of retreads. They're all guys that have been there and done that. They did finally call Bowen and Sayani up there. Maybe bring them up and see if there's anything. At least they haven't been up yet. I mean, it's the same old. G1 Bay's back up, Sawinski. I mean, it's just back and forth. You got to do something, I would think, a little bit differently. But you're right. Based on the structure of Major League Baseball, there's no hope for this franchise. So it then brings the question, will there be a salary cap, and what will have to be done to get this to work? We know the players don't want it, at least the players in the big markets that are making a ton of money, because they all know they're going to take pay cuts. Bryce Harper was the face of that opposition, but he's not alone. There are many others that share that sentiment. Manfred traveling around the stadiums to try to get into these clubhouses and talk to these players and tell them that there might be benefits beyond what they're making right now. When you start looking at the future and you start looking at longer deals and more expensive deals, that it is possible with a salary cap, depending on what the cap is, but the players don't want to hear it. Now, Manfred's not out for the players. Manfred's out for himself, as he should be. He's the commissioner of baseball, and he realizes you have a situation like Pittsburgh where you have the best pitcher in the game who you can't showcase anywhere except the All-Star game because there's no reason to put the Pirates on national TV. They're one of the worst in baseball, and you take the chance. What if they just don't pitch him? You certainly don't want to put that dumpster fire on without Paul Skeens in the lineup. And even if he is, he's maybe in for 4 or 5 innings. So you can't even guarantee that when the game matters, he'll still be around in that game. So they're toying around with this idea of a salary cap. Great article on ESPN. I mentioned it at the top of the show. I'll mention it again. It revolves around the Dodgers signing of Tanner Scott. Not Ohtani, not Betts, not all that huge guaranteed money, but $78 million for 4 years for a middle reliever that other teams said they can't afford to do. They said they can barely afford to give that maybe to 1 or 2 of their starters, let alone to give that to a guy who's going to pitch the 6th or 7th inning. So this started the outrage at the beginning of the season. That's why Manfred's around at these clubhouses. But if they are going to seriously consider this, the only way I think they can get the players' consent is there's got to be a strike, and they've got to be able to wait it out. They can't cave in. They might miss the entire 2027 baseball season, but if the players go a full year without making money, especially the ones on the lower end of the spectrum that can't afford it, they're going to be the ones that are going to push for the vote in favor of a salary cap. And then you at least, if you put a floor in, I'm not saying you give owners, because Nutting doesn't care, but you give the fans of teams like the Pirates a chance to potentially be forced to see a winner out there. And guys will come because with a cap, there's only so many areas you can go to where teams have money. They're going to go where the most money is. And for some of these guys, it's going to be Pittsburgh. I'm not saying they're going to get Bo Bichette and Pete Alonso, but they're going to get better talent than what they have out there on the field right now. I think it could be a positive if it's done correctly, but the Players Association, they're not going to give into this without a huge fight. It's going to be kicking and screaming coming. And the only way that might actually happen is if they miss the 2027 season. I don't know, Nick. Are we prepared for that? Can we go a year without baseball? For a better product maybe in the future.
Well, if they're going to start streaming the games, half the audience won't be able to watch them anyway, including me. I'm a young person who hates streaming, and I know a lot of older people who hate it too. I don't know. I mean, it's a declaration of war. Did you hear that story? Man, it's a Bryce Harper against Rob Manfred. Fight to the death.
Well, I would love that because I know who would win.
Well,
actually, we'd probably all win.
One's a
Doesn't
world-class
matter who wins
athlete,
the
one's
fight.
an old man. So, yeah. I mean,
Well,
Bryce
Manfred's
Harper
supposed to retire, 2029?
Is that what he said?
I believe so.
He's
So
not
he
that
wants to
old.
get, and he wants expansion before that. He wants 2 more teams.
They should contract, not expand.
I agree.
Starting with the team at PNC Park.
But a lot of teams are making money. That's the issue. I mean, they came out and said the Mets are losing, and,
Oh, the
and
league's making
there
money
are other
in
teams that are
general.
losing.
Yeah.
But the league is making money because they're the only game in town for a couple of months.
It's very regional.
and they take advantage of
Well,
that.
there's so many games. Yeah.
Way too many games, and that'll never move.
Yeah.
They might go to a cap, that'll never move. But Nick did make a point. The rumor is if they go to a cap, they're going to outsource the rights to broadcasting. Very few teams have local broadcasts anymore. You're lucky the team closest to your house still has it.
Very lucky.
But Major League Baseball has taken over for a large portion of teams right now, and what they want to do is get the others, which include the Dodgers, the Yankees, teams that still have those local broadcasters. They want to force them into potentially 30-game national packages where you would not get to see a portion of your team's games. Right now, you can see every Pirate game except the ones they have, and you're feeling that. What's that, Friday night, Sunday morning? Sometimes they'll put them on Apple Plus,
Apple
and
Roku.
the Roku. So you would see a lot more of that if Major League Baseball got their way.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting scenario, and I knew it was bad, but it seems really bad. I mean, right now, if you had to guess, 27's may be off the table unless they get to the negotiating table. So, yeah. And then the streaming thing, it's the way of the world. All the game tonight, NFL games on streaming. So a lot of people will be listening on the radio because they don't have Amazon Prime. So
what would you rather have? Would you rather watch the Pirates lose 90 or watch them lose 60 and hear about them losing 30?
I listen to most of them anyway, working here, but Yeah, I mean, that's the way of the world. It's going to go the streaming route, and I'd rather watch as many games as I can, but that's probably not realistic for a lot of people.
Well, we'd still be good, right? The radio,
on the
I don't
radio's
think, would
fine.
be
Every
touched.
game would be on the radio. That's never going away.
So there you go. So if they go streaming, you can tune into WMBS, and you can hear the Pirates lose those other 30 games.
Aw.
You won't be able to watch them lose.
Go to the ballpark.
There you go.
Yeah.
College football last week, Nick, the backyard brawl.
Yeah.
It sure was a brawl. Went on forever, like 4-hour game or so. Pitt went in all excited. West Virginia had just lost to Ohio University, and Pitt comes out the way they normally do with a big loss. Wasn't it Wanstead could never win that backyard brawl game?
Yeah.
Walt Harris had trouble with it. So
Narduzzi has trouble with everything, it seems.
well, not Duquesne. He beat Duquesne.
Well,
pretty good,
put him up, Dukes.
Yeah, well, they tried. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Pitt was, they were hyping themselves up. Once again, you start looking at the locals and you see disappointment. I mean, West Virginia got a win, but look how bad they looked prior to. Penn State's not covering the spread against nobodies, and we all know how that story ends. We've seen it enough with James Franklin, just like your Steelers story ends most years with Mike Tomlin. And then there's Pitt, the last hope of the locals, going down in the backyard brawl, the game that they claim is more important than any other they play. Disappointing week, I think, in college football.
Yeah, it was. Not many great games, but Penn State has a big game next week. James Franklin requested 2 weeks to get ready for Oregon. He said, I got a big game coming. I need an extra week to get ready.
Well, yeah, because they're off this week.
They are, to get ready for Oregon after they throttled in-state rival Villanova. Eye roll. Yeah. So
if it was basketball, that would have been a good game.
Would have been. Well, they're not even good at basketball
And who
anymore,
else did
Villanova.
what were the other teams?
Nevada, who they didn't cover against, and somebody else. I don't know. How's Drew Aller looking? I haven't watched them.
Well, he got booed during the second game by the fan base because of the decision making. It looks like you get into a position, it gets real conservative. They start handing the ball off. You get up in a game, they're not throwing downfield. They brought 3 receivers in as transfers from different schools. They barely used them. Last year, they threw almost everything to Tyler Warren, the tight end.
Oh, he's so good
People
with the
are
Colts.
frustrated with the offense, and it's James Franklin's offense. Just like it's Mike Tomlin's offense on Sunday, it's Franklin's on Saturday. It's not going to change. He gets ultra conservative if he has a lead or if he's within field goal range. I mean, it's the same thing. If you watch Penn State and you don't pay attention to the color of the uniform, you're probably going to think you're watching the Steelers. It's not a whole lot different. Trying to look for exciting games this week. I see Texas Tech and Utah. That's one of the big ones. That's prime time at noon. Is there anything else major that's going on here? Oklahoma Auburn, I guess.
That's a good one. I'll watch that. Oklahoma.
Well, that'll be interesting because Jackson Arnold, who was the highly recruited starter, like Oklahoma was so high on him.
Yeah.
They bring him in, he struggles, ends up transferring. He's in Auburn now. So this could be a big revenge game for him. But Oklahoma, their quarterback's the Heisman front runner now or something like that?
Yeah, Boomer
Is that
Sooner.
True? Mahir or whatever is the
Mateer, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll watch some of that. The games haven't been great.
Michigan, Nebraska.
Yeah, 2
That could be
traditional powers
interesting.
there.
Georgia Tech looked good last
The
week.
Ramblin' Wreck.
Yeah, they got Temple this
Yeah,
week.
Notre Dame lost. I'm sure you love that, but
Not really. At least they're playing competition.
That's true.
I'll give them
Well-
credit for that. Oh, Illinois, Indiana. That should be a good one.
Midwestern battle.
Yes, Miami and Florida.
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
They're
Florida
better.
lost
They're better
LSU.
this week than what we saw.
That
How about
Georgia
Arch?
Tennessee
Can
game
Arch,
was
what
fun.
can Arch do against Sam Houston? Is that
Yeah.
a guy or a team?
Georgia Tennessee was fun. You say he's playing one guy. He struggled even against UTEP, and forget what he did against the Buckeyes. Yeah,
He
it's
was
been a
getting
struggle.
booed by his home fans.
He better start doing something. I mean, it won't matter until he beats Georgia later in the year, a good team. It won't matter what he does. But he's struggling against UTEP, Dave.
I don't doubt it. I cannot see him as the first pick in the draft next year. He might be, but he shouldn't be.
Should he stay at Texas next year?
Well, he should. He's only played. I mean, this is his first year playing.
Yeah.
He sat on the bench. Imagine that. Imagine having to tell somebody, "Hey, I'm going to be the first pick in the draft," but I sat on the bench behind Quinn Ewers.
Well, I was going to say maybe there's a reason you were started over him.
I think we're
seeing it.
I think if Ewers stayed, he had another year. I think if Ewers stayed, he probably would have started this year too.
Yeah.
Or at least come in at some point in that Ohio State game. So we'll kind of leave it where it is. We'll spend more time on college football next week for Penn State, Oregon, which will be by far and away the game of the week.
Yeah.
All right, let's break because we got a lot of NFL to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will take a look back at last week in the NFL, and we'll look ahead to the week to come. Week 3, everybody. Nick and I will make our picks. Don't go anywhere.
For professional cleaning services, Clean and Shine in New Stanton is the place for you. They provide commercial and residential cleaning, porter services, carpet cleaning, stripping and waxing, construction cleanups, and car cleaning. For free estimates, call 724-691-0413, email info@cleanandshine14.org, or visit their website, cleanandshine14.org. We clean so you can shine.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
Ready to indulge in the essence of Parisian luxury? Then visit Live Casino in Greensburg for our Pure Couture drawing. Earn entries daily starting September 1st. Then on September 27th, we'll draw 25 winners to take home exclusive Yves Saint Laurent gifts, including designer bags, iconic accessories, and more. Experience the best of elegance and excitement. Only at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Here we are, the final segment of the show. I'm going to start you off with the newly updated, as of Thursday, Pittsburgh Steelers injury report for Week 3. These are the players who did not practice today. Wide receiver DK Metcalf, Veterans Day. How's he get that, by the way? Linebacker Patrick Queen was a full participant, so we will see him hobbling around, I'm sure, pretty much the entire game. Someone might pluck him or something, and he'll go down for a while. Darius Slay was a full participant today. He had Veterans Day yesterday. Joey Porter, hamstring, did not practice. Looks like he won't be in the lineup. Deshaun Elliott, knee, did not practice. Looks like he won't be in the lineup. Alex Highsmith, they already said, is out with the ankle. Max Sharping did not practice, was placed on injured reserve today. He's a backup offensive lineman. TJ Watt, he had Veterans Day yesterday. He practiced in full today. Derek Harmon was limited today. That might be a good sign. He was out there. So maybe we'll see him with the knee injury out and about. It's funny. I was looking at the New England practice report from yesterday. Nobody had none of these other teams have Veterans Day. The Steelers make sure that they have them. So whatever. It is what it is. All right, let's look for some surprises, some things that happened last week. Thursday night was sort of exciting. The Green Bay Packers, I think, separated themselves from other teams like Washington. Jaden Daniels struggled a little bit, got injured in that game. But Jordan Love showing that he is probably a top-tier quarterback in the NFL. Still not a whole lot of receiving talent. Jaden Reed, his best receiver, leaves with a collarbone injury. Washington lost Austin Eckler, their starting running back for the year. Washington, I think, is going to be in trouble. Yeah. You've got this, Jacory Krosky Merritt, or whatever, 7th-round pick, who's like your number one running back right now. And Terry McLaurin looks like he hasn't even showed up yet, even though he's out there. Debo's out there, but if Daniels is hurt, that surprise last year could be a missed playoff in a hurry this year. Green Bay looks like one of the best teams in the league, although Tucker Kraft got hurt at practice today, and he was their leading receiver last week, 8 for 120 plus and a touchdown. So they got to make sure they keep him healthy. The New England Patriots, a big win over Miami, 33-27. And that's kind of where they are. Miami's not a good team. New England's, I think, a mid-tier team. If they win, they're going to win, by 6, by 7, something like that. Tua threw for over 300, so a little bit of a bounce back for him. But the Patriot defense stepped up when it needed to. The Bengals lose Joe Burrow for 3 months. With turf toe. He had the surgery for it. They come back and they beat Jacksonville behind Jake Browning. But then you start to ask yourself, this we thought was a sure bet playoff team. Are they a playoff team with Jake Browning? There's not a whole lot behind him. Brett Rippon was promoted to the active roster. Mike White signed to the practice squad. Not a whole lot happening for the Bengals at that quarterback position. The Dallas Cowboys, in probably the most exciting game, went to overtime, 40-37. Russell Wilson throws for 450 yards in that game, 3 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors comes alive, 9 for 167, 2 touchdowns. Even George Pickens had a pretty decent game for the Dallas Cowboys. But in the end, Brendan Aubrey, who could probably make field, I think he could kick one from 80. He'll be the first one that does it. That leg is just huge. It's a disappointing loss, I'm sure, for the Giants, who at a couple of different times thought they had the game won. But Dallas gets a win. How about them Cowboys? Javonte Williams, almost 100 yards, another touchdown. The Chicago Bears 0-2. I don't know who saw that coming. Not exactly what Ben Johnson was hoping for, especially playing his old team, who hung 52 on his defense. Jared Goff, 5 touchdown passes, over 300 yards. The lone bright spot for the Bears, Rome Odunze, their first-round pick from last year, 7 for 128 and 2 touchdowns. The Rams defeat the Titans 33-19. Matt Stafford looks like he's finally getting his rhythm back after missing the entire preseason and all of training camp. The Titans have a long way to go under first overall pick and rookie Cam Ward. The 49ers squeak out another one over the Saints. Mac Jones, the quarterback for the 49ers last week, looks like Purdy might be in this week, so a little bit of help maybe for Christian McCaffrey at running back. The Saints, they hung in there. I'll give them credit. They've got fight. But I don't think they have the roster to end up winning very many games. The Bills blow out the Jets. Justin Fields, a horrendous day, maybe the worst in his career against that Buffalo defense. Josh Allen, nothing through the air really, but was able to make up for that on the ground. And a great game by James Cook, who got a new contract in the preseason. The Ravens blow out the Browns, so all that talk about Cleveland being better, hung in there with the Bengals, certainly didn't hang in there with Baltimore. I still think Baltimore's the best team in the AFC. I think they blew a game against Buffalo that they should have won. They, I think, put the exclamation point on Cleveland early in this one. The Colts win again. This time they sneak up and beat the Denver Broncos 29-28, a better game for Bo Nix. But Danny Dimes, 2-0 as the starting quarterback for Indianapolis. The Cardinals barely beat the Panthers. That's not saying much for the Cardinals. 27-22, the Panthers may be the worst team right now in football, but Arizona 2-0 after playing the Saints and the Panthers. The Philadelphia Eagles, behind the tush push and Jalen Hurts, send the Kansas City Chiefs to 0-2. This is a rematch of the Super Bowl. The Eagles didn't exactly bring their A game, but they brought enough to win 2017. The Falcons blow out the Vikings. I know a lot of people are down on J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy had no time. The couple times he had time, he looked good throwing the ball downfield. No protection whatsoever. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. We're going to see Carson Wentz, maybe even in Dublin, for the Minnesota Vikings. Falcons didn't look great, but they did what they needed to. Bijan Robinson starting to emerge as one of the best backs in the game. On Monday Night Football, there were 2 of them. Tampa Bay 20-19 winners over Houston. Baker Mayfield doesn't put up a ton, but does it when it counts. 2 touchdown passes through the air. And the Los Angeles Chargers, still keep wanting to say San Diego, 20-9 over the Oakland Raiders. Same story as the Vikings, no protection whatsoever. The best was when Gente tried to go around the outside and ran into his blocking tight end, Mayer, who knocked him over. Terrible offensive line play for the Raiders. Chargers look like a sure bet playoff team. Nick, it was a fun and exciting week. They always are in the NFL. A few surprises, a few things that we probably figured out was going to happen. I don't know if any surprise was bigger than Seattle beating Pittsburgh. But in the end, put it in the books. We're ready to move on.
Another week in the books, always fun, and week 3 is upon us.
Week 3 is upon us, so not going to go through everybody's picks, but we'll go through our picks, starting with tonight. Dolphins at Bills. Bills favored by 11.5.
That's a big number, but this could be Mike McDaniel's last stand. Back to the, what is it called, Best Buy? It's Bills and a big one tonight.
Yes. Well, Mike McDaniel believes that his job is not in jeopardy. The analytics will help him figure out how to turn this team around. Jalen Waddle's status iffy for tonight. 11.5 is like probably 30. Or maybe 50 in a college game, but I'm taking the Bills too. I can't imagine the Dolphins can hang in this game. Atlanta Falcons at Carolina Panthers. I don't know why that's first on here. They must be an early game, I'm assuming. Really? They're going to put them on at prime time?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
The Falcons favored by 5.5.
5.5. Yeah, Carolina's bad. Give me the Falcons.
I'm taking the Falcons in that one too. Not that I'm super impressed, but I don't think there's a worse team than Carolina right now. Packers at Browns. Packers favored by 7.5. No Reed and maybe no Kraft.
Yeah, but they could win this game with Malik Willis, not even Jordan Love, handing off to Josh Jacobs. That's a big number, but give me Green Bay.
I took the Packers. I'm thinking Browns now, but I'm sticking with the Packers on that. Texans at Jaguars. Here's a surprise. Jacksonville favored by 1.5.
Yeah, I don't like that. Give me Houston.
I'm taking Houston, too. We might see the long-awaited debut of Christian Kirk finally suiting up for Houston. Stroud needs all the weapons he can get at this point.
His former team, yeah.
Well, the running... and Nick Chubb had a touchdown. Like, he's okay. They're missing a lot with Mixon. Like, they're missing guys. They miss Tank Dell, whether they want to admit it or not. But they're not going to start 0-3. No. I got Houston in that one. Bengals at Vikings. Vikings getting 2.5.
Carson Wentz against Jake Browning. Boy, give me Minnesota. Great matchup of receivers. Jefferson against Chase.
That is true. And Browning was originally signed by the Vikings as an unrestricted free agent. He was undrafted. I'm going to go with Browning. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I can't see them losing. The line, at least McCarthy can move a little bit. Wentz can't move at all. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. Rams at Eagles. There's a good one. Eagles favored by 3.5.
Yeah, playoff rematch. I think the Eagles win, but tight. I'll say the Rams. I'll go with the Rams.
Ooh, I'm going to take the Eagles too. I think you look at what happened there in that Super Bowl rematch last week. They had to come from behind. I don't see that same system. Sirianni is smart. He's innovative. I think they're going to have a good game plan. And the Rams have looked iffy at best the first couple of weeks. I'm taking Philly in that one. Jets at Bucks. Bucks favored by 6.5.
Tyrod Taylor starting for the Jets.
He is. No Justin Fields in this
Tampa
one.
will be 3-0. Jets 0-3. Tampa big.
I'm going with Tampa too. Baker, Evans, Igbuka, who's looked good. I'm taking Tampa in that one. Colts at Titans. Colts favored by 4.5.
Can the Colts start 3-0 with Danny Dimes? I think they will. Tyler Warren, 4.5's the line.
Yes.
The Colts.
Well, this has to come to an end at some point. Warren's banged up too. He got hurt. He got removed from the game at the end last week. He hurt his foot. So I don't know what his status looks like for this week. I just can't see, and I like Shane Steichen a lot. I can't see Daniel Jones 3-0. And the Titans have not impressed me, but I'm going to take them anyways. I'm going with Tennessee and the 4.5. Raiders at Commanders. Commanders favored by 3.5.
Do we know about Jaden Daniels?
I don't know anything yet. It's questionable is all I see.
Because of that, I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I saw that line and how bad they are behind Geno Smith. I'm going to take the Commanders in this one.
I get it.
I'll take, is it Marcus Mariota? Is that who the backup is?
Maybe.
There? I'll take whoever at this point. Broncos at Chargers. Chargers favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix has been iffy. Chargers look very good. Give me the Chargers.
I think the Chargers look very good as well. Lad McConkey's banged up though, and the running game has struggled to get off. I'm gonna take Denver, and you know what I think of Knicks, but Sean Payton I think can outcoach Jim Harbaugh. I'm gonna go with the Broncos in this one.
Harbaugh's
Saints
good.
at Seahawks. Seattle favored by 7.5.
And you know what? I don't think Seattle's as good as they were last week. The Saints have good skill guys. I don't think they start 0-3. Give me the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints too. I think they're scrappy. I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll hang in. They won't lose by more than 7.
3 or 4.
Cowboys at Bears. Cowboys favored by 1.5.
This is a big one. This is a referendum on Caleb. He has to play well in this one. It's a big 4:30 game. But give me Dallas. I think the Bears will be 0-3.
I'm taking the Bears. They have to snap out of this at some point. The offense has to be better with Ben Johnson at the helm of this thing. They have receivers. Swift is banged up too. A lot of guys are banged up. The Cowboys have those weapons on offense too, but if Russell Wilson puts up 450 yards against your defense, there's got to be an issue that we're not seeing. I'm taking the Bears. Cardinals at 49ers. 49ers favored by 2.5.
Mac Jones, baby.
Might be Brock Purdy.
Oh, it might be?
They said he might play.
Oh, boy. Well, if that's the case, I think I wrote down the Cards, but if Purdy plays, give me the Niners, even without Kittle.
I'm taking the Niners. The Cards are 2-0, but they're not a good 2-0. No. It's like when the Steelers were 11-0. I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. Chiefs at Giants. Is this Sunday Night Football?
It is.
How are the Giants? 6.5 Chiefs are favored.
Oh, the Chiefs are a big draw in New York. Russ was great, but the Chiefs will not be 0-3. The Giants will be. Sorry, Brian Daboll. Chiefs win by more than 6.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs and the points in this one. And Monday Night Football, it's a good one. Lions at Ravens. Ravens favored by 4.5.
4.5. Ravens win, but by a field goal. Give me the Lions.
I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, second best team in football. I'm taking them with the 4.5. I think it's a bloodbath when it's. I think you're going to be surprised. It's not going to be as close as you think it's going to be.
Green Bay the best team or the Eagles?
Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Eagles, Ravens, I think are the top 2.
All right.
Green Bay's up there, though.
Yeah, they are.
The Lions are good, too. I
put up 52
I have them in the
points,
playoffs, but I don't think they're in the same league as the Ravens.
I got it.
Well, that is all the time we have for this week's edition of The Sports Voice. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
For over 45 years, the Davis & Davis Law Firm has stood by the great people of Fayette, Greene, and the surrounding counties, turning their legal battles into victories. If you're hurt or injured, don't wait. It's time to call on the experience you can trust. With Davis & Davis, you are not just a case number, you're part of our community. Call 724-437-2799 today for your free consultation, and one of our 6 attorneys will personally meet you at the Davis & Davis Law Firm. Call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 W266DB, WMBS Uniontown, sunny and 81. Nice late summer day. NFL tonight, Dolphins at Bills at 7:30. Right now, CBS News, WMBS Uniontown. It is 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour.